metalheads, and welcome to another episode of the Harsh Vocals Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Justin Corbett, and with me is
Christian Renner. And how's everybody doing? How's your week been?
It's been rough, man. It was a lot of work and a lot of dealing with kids and a lot of just stress. But the one shining light has been the fact that we've had yet another amazing week of music.
Yeah, and I mean, week after week after week, we're saying it, but it really is true. I mean, it starts to sound like we're bullshitting people, but it really has been this good.
Yeah.
I mean, just about anybody would agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on metal Twitter quite a bit talking, and everybody's just flabbergasted at how good the quality of music being released so far in 2024 has been. I feel like week 8, which was 2 weeks ago, was probably the weakest week we've had so far this year. There was a few standouts that came out for sure, but in general, not as many as there have been. I mean, most weeks we're hitting 10 plus contenders each release week. And then that one, I think there was probably only 4 or 5. So, I mean, still a good week, but not a great week. And then this past week, week 9, holy cow, like 2024 came back with a vengeance and just dropped a plethora of amazing albums on top of us.
Yeah, that week 8, it gave me a chance to go back to some of the stuff that I missed in 2023. Found a couple of bangers in there.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so it was kind of nice, actually, to be honest.
Well, I think we needed a break because, I mean, it's just been such high quality that we've been having to dedicate a lot of time to listening to the new stuff, and there hasn't been as much time for revisiting old things. And you and I are both vinyl collectors. We like to listen to our older stuff, and, you know, I still like to discover stuff I've never heard before. So, like, I think week 8, I spent a lot of time listening to a bunch of the AOP record releases that I had missed in the past. Some of the earlier Der Weg and Einer Fright stuff is really good. And I was listening to Austere a lot. You know, I love Harakiri, but I've never really checked out some of those other ones as deeply as I should have. So it was nice to go back and discover, or at least broaden my knowledge of those post-black originators that I maybe missed in the beginning. But it was cool.
See, that is one of the more difficult things about, you know, the amount of music you and I consume is there's less and less time to go back to some of your favorites.
Or even like there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people would consider classics that I've never heard, or if I did hear it was in passing 10 years ago and I don't remember it very well. And now that I'm so heavily involved in the social media for promotion for the show and just for talking to metalheads because I love it, I'm finding all this stuff that I've missed or never been exposed to or didn't give a chance to. And my classics playlist just keeps growing and growing.
Yeah, for the Blast for the Past pick this week, I went back and listened to one of the best Opeth albums ever, you know, that Still Life album. Not my personal favorite, but yeah, you can't mess with any of the early Opeth albums.
Yeah, Opeth's great. I agree. But we'll get into that a little bit later in the show. First things first, our topic for the week is going to be live shows. We're going to talk about what we enjoy about live shows, what we don't like about live shows, and the things that we think could be done to improve live shows. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But before we go into that, we're going to go ahead and talk about our top releases from the past 2 weeks. And we're going to start with one of Christian's. The first band we're discussing is a band called Volcandra. You want to talk about them, Christian?
Sure. We got Volcandra. The album is called The Way of Ancients. We got a hybrid of melodic black and death metal. And oddly enough, from Kentucky.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that. The track I picked was called The Blackened Temple. And this is one of those songs that comes in and just punches you in the face with its aggressiveness and keeps you hooked with that main driving riff that comes through. And of course, you got influences from, you know, the main bands that seem to influence a lot of these guys. Of course, you know, Dissection, Necrophobic, Uwada. You know, well, Uwada's a modern band.
Yeah, they're more of a contemporary.
Definitely, yeah, but you can definitely hear the similarities in there. But of course, you know, all of these bands kind of pull back a little bit and, you know, take influences from Dissection. So,
well, I mean, nobody's quite managed to do it quite as well as Dissection did, right?
yeah. And I mean, that whole story is so out of this world. I mean, it's kind of crazy, the whole story behind Dissection.
Yeah, we should do an episode
That
about
could be
that
a whole
one day.
podcast by itself.
Yeah, we should do that one day. That'd be fun. But yeah, this Volcandra album, it didn't click with me right away. I love black and death metal as a genre in general, and I feel like the last couple of Volcandra albums I've really had a hard time connecting to, and I'm not sure what it is, but I do feel like you picked the strongest track on the album to play, and it has this really great interlude in the middle of it. You said that it comes in and it like punches you in the face, so it's like extremely aggressive in the beginning, but then it has this really melodic, powerful section right in the middle that just sort of bridges the beginning and end of it, where it comes in a little more calmly at the end. I think it's a great track. The album is one that I have to devote a lot more time to. I think it's just not grabbing me as strongly as some of the others from this past week.
And to be honest with you, I think I kind of know what your issue is with this. And because I've brought up some similar bands and you seem to have the same kind of issues with it, I think it's too clean for you. Like, the production is very clean.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I mean, and you seem to like a little bit of a dirtier kind of sound, a little bit more in the painful, like the painful type vocals, more extreme.
I like rawness in my music. It's true. But I also appreciate high production value. And it's like, if you listen to something like Dimmu Borgir, where they're a symphonic black metal band and the production value is tremendous, or even Esson, his latest album, production value is probably the best of any album I've heard in 5 years. It can be done in a way that I really enjoy it. It's just, it doesn't seem to gel correctly with this band and me for some reason. Not sure why.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it would be, if everybody liked them as much as Taylor Swift, then we wouldn't necessarily be talking about them.
I wish there was any metal band that people liked as much as Taylor Swift. We'd have a lot more to listen.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day the metalocalypse will become a real thing.
Death Clock is going to be here in Des Moines pretty soon.
Yeah. You going to go see him?
Actually, there's too many... For the first time ever, and I've said this in our metal chat that maybe I should stop talking about giving Des Moines shit about never having bands, but man, in April and May there's a glut of bands coming through here.
Yeah, in Houston too. I think I have 4, maybe 5 concerts I'm planning to go to, but 3 of them are in the same week, so I may have to just forego one of them. That's too much in one week.
I think what the deal is, it's centered around these festivals. Like we got Milwaukee Metal Fest coming up, and that's in the beginning of May. So I think a lot of these bands are going to be here because they're already going to be a Milwaukee Metal Fest, and of course they're going to be somewhat close to Milwaukee.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Before. So I think that's why, and I wouldn't doubt it if when's Hell's Heroes?
That's the 2nd or 3rd weekend in March. I think it's next week or the week after.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, never mind. That ruins that thought, I guess.
Yeah. Most of the ones that are in May, I'm not entirely sure why they're all hitting the Houston area at the same time, but it is what it is. It's just May's a very popular month, I guess. But
well, Houston has a lot of shows. They do get a lot of shows.
Yeah, we get a lot of shows. It's just none of my favorite bands ever seem to come here. We get a lot.
Yeah, I guess
we get a lot of like, death metal, tech death, and I like that stuff, but I don't like all the bands. And like one of the big ones that's coming is Enterprise Earth with Inferi and Aborted and somebody else. And Zebellian Triangle, who I raved about, that opened for Hath and Gorod, are opening that show as well. Like, I would not mind seeing Zebellian Triangle, and I would not mind seeing Inferi. I actually really like Inferi, but I have not found anything redeeming in Enterprise Earth's catalog. I'm just not a big fan. And I've Aborted. It's like some of the songs are okay, but I always feel bad buying tickets to a show and then leaving before the headliner goes on. But a lot of the time when I go to concerts, it's that way. I'm not there for the headliner. I'm there for one of the opening acts. But
yeah, that's usually my thing too.
They play 5 songs and you're like, well, I spent all this money to watch 5 songs and now I'm going to go home.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's keep things moving. So we're going to go play a track real quick. This is called The Blackened Temple off the album The Way of Ancients from Volcandra.
His
It is a good track, man. It is definitely the strongest track on the album. I really got to spend more time with this because on paper, Volcandra has everything that I look for in a melodic Blackened death metal band. They got that sound that I like. The production value's high, great guitar work, great drumming, great vocals. Like, I don't know what it is that is not connecting me to this. And you've got the vinyl. Nice. I just got to give it more time, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those bands that, you know, I was actually surprised that you said it wasn't clicking with you, but you know, we can't all like the same things.
That's true. I mean, even in my preferred genre, I'm not going to like everything.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it is fucking weird as shit for any fan of black metal not to like Yatheria,
Mm-hmm.
but there are plenty of people that don't, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Everybody's got their own tastes. I mean, I like a lot of stuff that very few people seem to gel with. So I don't know. I've got a couple of albums we're going to talk about that fit into that category. So let's get to the next one. So the second track we're going to play is off of an album from a British band called Uzlaga. All of their albums have been themed around undersea creatures or being at the bottom of the ocean or what lies in the depths. They're very driven by that whole mysteries of the abyss sort of theme. And their new album is called Depth Dweller. And the song that we're going to be playing is called Light of the Moon. So it's a one-man black metal project from England, as I mentioned. Very melodic. It has the screechy vocals. It has the raw production, which I do kind of prefer to the super clean one. But it has these like amazing soaring melodies just sort of built in. And there's keyboard parts that are really melodic and pretty. And then it's just got these strong screeching vocals over it, which I enjoy a lot. So did you get a chance to check this one out, Christian?
Yeah, I actually like this quite a bit too. And the thing that I really liked about it was, you know, the level of anger and fury and aggressiveness, but all within that, you know, the overall atmospheric nature of it. You know, it just enveloped it somehow, and it really felt like you know, this is kind of cliche, but it felt like you were on a journey.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. It does an amazing job of living up to the themes that he's trying to set. It really does create that atmosphere that if you let it envelop you, it feels like you're at the bottom of the ocean. And it's a very strong concept album, if that's the entire concept of it, being there and dealing with that. So I dug it a whole lot. He has, I think, 4 albums. This is his 4th one. So I've got to spend some time and go back and review his previous records as well, because this one was great for me. So let me go ahead and play a track from this. Again, this is called Light of the Moon off the album Depth Dweller, and the band is Uzlaga.
All right, that was Uzlaga, and hope you like it. It's actually a fantastic record all the way through. I mean, most of the stuff that we pick really doesn't have weak tracks on it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we probably wouldn't pick it, because there's plenty of records coming out that are fantastic all the way through.
Maybe if we hit a glut where there's like 2 bad weeks in a row, we'll have some that, every track isn't a banger, but not right now, not so far in 2024. No. So this one other factoid that I found was that Uzlaga is actually a Germanic word that means war. So at its core, this is a war kind of themed band, even though everything's about underwater creatures and shit.
I would have never thought that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the German word for war is actually Krieg. So, I don't know. Either way.
All right. Well, moving on. The next one is going to be one of Christian's picks. This is the band called Suicidal Angels. Why don't we talk a little bit about that one?
All right. We got Suicidal Angels. The album is called Profane Prayer. Thrash metal from Greece. One of these times we should probably do like a deep dive on like we keep saying that all the good black metal lately is coming out of France and Germany. And
Mm-hmm.
I swear the metal scene in Greece, for a country being that small, is batshit insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of great Greece bands. Yeah.
Yeah, I've even seen a documentary where they were actually going through like the heavy metal culture in Greece, and it's pretty prominent there.
Yeah.
But this is yet another amazing band from Greece, and I've been a fan of this band for quite a while. I mean, they do some fantastic thrash metal, and the track that I picked is "Virtues of Destruction," and this type of thrash, I like to call it clean thrash.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got very high production value. It's very, very much in the same vein as Angelus Apatrida and Havoc and, some of these type bands. There's no Blackened sound in this. There's no death sound in this. This is
and
out
the weird thing,
thrash.
the really weird thing is that I actually like this more than the Volcandra album.
That actually does surprise me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, out of their back catalog, this here, it seems...
It's a very classic sound. Like, it's very classic thrash sounding. Yeah. And, like, when I first got into metal, that was what I listened to and liked. I've had a craving for more and more extreme sounds as time has gone by. But this is kind of like a callback to where I was when I first entered this genre of music. And it really kind of fits that vibe. I liked it a lot, and I'm not usually the biggest connoisseur of thrash these days, so it's a good pick.
It's got that clean sound, and where back in the day, in those classic thrash bands, it was all about the riff, mm-hmm. like that main riff, and callbacks to that main riff, and like if you said Master of Puppets, the very first thing you think of is that dun 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 dun, mm-hmm. And that goes with everybody, and this here has that, and that's what I really dig about it.
Yeah, it's really good. So let's go ahead and play the track. This is Suicidal Angels off the album Profane Prayer, and the name of the song is Virtues of Destruction.
Victim of the
good stuff, man.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I mean, another vinyl purchase because, I can't keep to my one vinyl a week promise to myself, but
It would be impossible this year, I think. I bought more vinyl today. It's hard not to, man. There's so much good music that comes out. Speaking of more good music and vinyl, this is one that I purchased this morning, actually. It's a band called Karkosa, and the album is called Terror Cult. And the name of the track that I'm going to be playing is called Domini Sanctum. So this is a technical Blackened death metal band out of Indiana. Christian and I have been talking about them a lot, kind of privately before the show. We both sort of feel like they have a lot of Dimmu Borgir influences, and it's almost as if you kind of imagine what Dimmu would sound like if they were a tech death band. There's so many cool melodies and sound bites and just a lot of like progressive elements that are sort of built into this that are reminiscent of that sort of sound. And it keeps the album fresh and it keeps me coming back to it. This was the hardest spot to pick for me for this week because there was 2 or 3 other albums I really liked a lot, but Karkosa, I just kept coming back to it and I continue to be impressed by it. It's one of the best releases this year, I think, and it's under a lot of people's radars. So I'm very happy that I was able to purchase it on vinyl, and I'm looking forward to listening to it more and more throughout the year.
Yeah, I think I'm going to break down and buy this on vinyl too. But the thing that really gets me about if you wouldn't have picked this, I was going to pick it. I would have taken something out. It would have killed me to take something out, but I would have done it. But yeah, this is fantastic, especially if you're like we talked about earlier, if you're a Dimmu fan, this could probably get into you. So
yeah, I mean, if you like that progressive kind of symphonic sound that Dimmu does, you'll enjoy this as well, especially if you're also a fan of tech death, because there's a lot of Blackened elements in this, but at its core, I think it's just tech death, and it's very, very interesting and very well done. So without any further discussion, let's go ahead and play it. This is Karkosa off the album Terror Cult, and the name of the track again is Domini Sanctum.
We deprived ourselves, mind of completion, mortal fear.
There we go. Some killer metal from, where'd you say, Indiana?
Yep. Yep. Another American band.
Again. Yeah. I love to see it. I love to see it.
Yeah, me
You
too.
know, you see more of this black and death. We used to not get a whole lot of black metal here in America. You know, it just wasn't a
I
thing
feel like
for quite a
Uwada,
while.
throwback to Uwada, I feel like they're really the pioneers of black metal reaching the level that it has in America. I mean, we've got a lot of great bands that are doing different things here now, like Wayfarer and Cloak and Black Braid and just tons and tons of different ones. But I think Uwada was the first one that I really saw touring with bigger bands and making a splash out of America.
Yeah, and then when you see, the push that Black Braid got, and then of course Stormkeep, that album just blew up. Yeah, black metal is definitely making a push here in
I didn't
America.
even mention Stormkeep, and I should have because they're one of the best.
Yeah, yeah, that's an album that I go back to quite frequently. I'm so glad I got that on vinyl when I did, because talk about a hard album to find
Yeah,
on
same
vinyl.
here. I have that one too. Actually, speaking of Hell's Heroes, they were supposed to be on the lineup, and I was thinking about going specifically just to see them. But since they ended up not going, I am ending up not going too.
Oh, yeah, I probably still couldn't afford it to go this year, but they're definitely a band I need to see live.
Yeah, same here. Like, could you imagine like a Stormkeep Moonlight Sorcery tour? That would be insane.
Throw some Storm Ruler in there too.
Yeah. Oh
Ugh.
man. I That's what I wish. I wish there was more of those like lesser to middle area kind of known mellow black bands touring around. There's just not that many that hit places in the
Yeah,
States, at least. I mean, I see tours announced in Europe all the time and I'm so jealous, but we just don't get them here.
yeah,
Maybe one day.
yeah.
Moving along, the next pick was another one of Christian's. This is a band called Devastator. Why don't you tell us a little bit about them, Christian?
Yep. The album's called Conjurers of Cruelty, and the track that I picked was Black Witchery. And I'm a huge fan of the relatively newish kind of genre, that black and roll kind of sound. And this has a little bit of that feel as well. I mean, it's a bit more on the thrash metal than, normal black and roll would be.
Mm-hmm.
when you first listen to this song, I don't know if you caught on to this. I'm sure you listened to the album too, but that first riff in this song is very, very reminiscent of "Hit the Lights"
Mhm.
from Metallica.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Like, yeah, and I mean, you definitely hear it. I don't think it's a straight ripoff, but I definitely think that they've heard this song before, and a lot of this is subconscious, but yeah, the song doesn't sound like "Hit the Lights," obviously, but that initial riff is definitely there. But overall, it's just got this thrashy goodness with. They just sound like they're having fun,
Yeah. Well,
and I love a band that has a good time.
yeah, you've said that.
That's one of the things I love about
You
Midnight.
said that before. You love Midnight, you love Hell Ripper, and this is kind of in the same vein. It's, speed, blackened thrash. And, the minute I heard this, I messaged you. I think it was like at 3 a.m. last Friday when it came out. And I was just like, Christian, you're going to love this. And
Yep.
shock, you did.
Yes, I did. And yeah, this is exactly what I look for. I mean, there's nothing better than a band that, is having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can tell that they're having a good time playing, you have a good time in the audience. And, music should not be ultra serious. It should be a good time.
Well, I don't know. There's room for both, I think.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memes on the internet is Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, and he's like, "Are you all ready to have a good time? Well, too fucking bad. That was the other band. Prepare to feel sad."
Yeah. I definitely get that. But I mean, I want to know that even if your music is sad, I want to know you enjoy playing.
Yeah, I get that.
That's the thing. Like, I can tell, there's nothing happy about Uwada.
Mm-hmm.
Bring that band up again for the third time. But man, like you said, when you saw them live, they crushed.
Oh, they do.
Live.
They're amazing live.
And so that's one of those bands I'm hoping sometime comes by here.
I'm sure they will. They're always touring the U.S. So, and if not, you can always come visit me, and then we can go see them together. I'm sure they'll be in Houston again at some point. All right. Well, moving on. The final track for the night. This is a band that is new to me, but it's their second album. They had an EP prior to this as well. This is a band called Einvigi, Einvigi. So the minute I heard this band, I rushed to find out if they had vinyl copies available, if they were anywhere. They weren't on their Bandcamp. It's not a wide release. They do have a parent company that was selling the vinyls. They only made 150 copies, and shipping from Europe was super expensive. I ended up spending like $65 for this album, but I got to tell you, it feels worth it to me. Christian and I listen to thousands and thousands of hours of music, new music every single year. And, we're doing that kind of as a quest to find those special ones that really just connect with us on this deep, deep level. And you don't find them very often. I think we find maybe one or two a year if we're really lucky, but we're only in March, and I found two so far this year, which is just incredible to me. Eternal Storm, I still listen to that album every day, if not every other day. I know Christian's kind of in the same boat with that. It's just such a perfect album. And for me, this Einvigi album is the same. It's melodic post-black album with folk influences built into it. The best way I can describe their sound is that it's a kind of combination of Mole and Harakiri for the Sky with a tidbit of Alcest thrown in and produced through a Finnish folk lens. It's beautiful post-black with really sweeping melodies and just lots and lots of powerful emotion built into every single song with these incredibly harsh vocals behind it. I love the tone of the guy's voice. I love the tone of the guitars. I love literally everything about this album. It's like a 10 out of 10 for me, which I don't find too often, obviously. Cannot say enough good things about it. I know, Christian, you listened to it, you liked it, but I don't think you loved it on my level.
No, not on your level. I mean, to me, it's undeniably insanely well done. I mean, the level of craftsmanship on this record is, off the chart. It's just one of those albums that is a little too slow for me. I prefer my music a little faster, but this album is insanely well done. It's just one of those that I have to be in the right mood for.
Yeah, it's definite mood music, but I think my default mood is depressed, so it kind of works for me all the time, which is why it's so perfect. But I really hope that some people out there listening to the show at least can appreciate it, close to my level. I've been singing its praises on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere else, which, by the way, if you're not following us, check out Harsh Vocal Site on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm very, very active. So I'm always posting, vinyls I'm listening to, music I've discovered, talking, interacting. So it'd be great to have more people involved in that. But I'm going to go ahead and play the track. This is off the album Monochroma, and the name of the song is Huoning from the band Einvigi. So hope you enjoy it. Yeah, that's the first track off the album. So it's a real good sampler of what you're going to get. I feel like the last three tracks are a little bit slower than some of the earlier ones, but it really kind of glides you into that softer, more ambient kind of mood by the time you get to that point. If you like the first track, then you'll like the whole album, I believe. But if you didn't care for it, then maybe it's not for you.
Yeah, and that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely like it, but it's, for me, it's like I said, I have to be in the right mood for, that more intense, more in depth kind of stuff. With thrash metal, it's just like aggressiveness and, that big dumb riff.
Mm-hmm.
And you're it. There's not a whole lot of thought process with a lot of thrash metal.
I mean,
so.
that's kind of what I like that's different in the genres. I mean, if I listen to thrash, it's because I'm just in a mood for like something dumb and fun. Death metal is kind of in the same vein. Like, I mean, you can get a little deeper into it when it gets progressive elements added to it and whatnot. But like black metal, I feel like is the most varied subgenre because you can get this really deep depressive stuff. You can get this really emotional stuff. You can get that surface level stuff as well. And you can just get, super fun stuff like Moonlight Sorcery, or you can get, more peaceful type of stuff like Alcest. It just sort of depends what you're looking for. It kind of runs the whole gamut, which is why it's my favorite subgenre by far.
Yeah, honestly, black metal is just, I mean, you could almost give it its own separate, like the levels coming off, the subgenres coming off of black is just so insanely varied. There really isn't anything you can't mix with black metal and have it sound bad.
Speaking of, have you the band Gone Mage? I'm sure you've heard of them.
I think so. It sounds familiar.
He does a lot of like chiptune, black metal, synthy kind of stuff. And he's put out several albums over the last 4 or 5 years. So I know we're moving into our honorable mentions section now. So I didn't particularly love every aspect of his latest album, but it's interesting enough of a bridge to discussion since we're talking about all the ways you can interact with black metal to talk about him as my first honorable mention, because I befriended the guy on Twitter a little bit. And we've been talking back and forth about various things. His latest album is a combination of black metal and nu metal. And he's the first person I think that's ever done anything like that. Imagine if Korn was a black metal band, and that's what this sounds like. It's extremely interesting.
I mean, usually as soon as I see a nu metal designation, I'm out. Like I kind of run the other way, but I'll definitely check this out.
Yeah, the album is called Spell Piercings. It has like a weird looking jester, a poorly drawn jester on the cover. This is his third album as Gone Mage. I know he does some other stuff under different names. I just think it's fascinating that he's willing to experiment and play around with other genres mixed with black metal. And even if I don't necessarily love all the nu metal parts of this, I can appreciate it for what it is. And it's just so interesting because I never heard anything like it before.
Hey, anytime you're doing something new, I'm first in line to listen to that.
Yeah, so if you like nu metal, I would highly recommend checking it out. Let me go through my honorable mentions real quick first, and then we can move on to Christians. So Borknagar put out this little album called Fall that everybody's been waiting about 6 years for. It's excellent. I know Christian said it didn't hold up as well for him after multiple replays, but I've been listening to it a lot, and I really love it. I don't think it's quite as good as True North was, but it's almost there. And Vortex is one of my favorite clean singers, so it's good for me. Let's see. Job for a Cowboy put out an album called Moon Healer. I have never intentionally listened to Job for a Cowboy before this album. They're always kind of classified as deathcore, which I'm not the biggest fan of metalcore, deathcore, any sort of core except for maybe grind. So I typically would stay away from it. But Job for a Cowboy's latest is actually a very good technical death metal album. I've listened to it several times. I don't necessarily think it's one of the best tech death albums of the year or anything, but it is a very good album. So if you're looking for something different and you like their particular brand of stuff, you might really enjoy this.
And, honestly, that would have been one of my honorable mentions too. And that surprised me because I'd never actually listened to a Job for a Cowboy album. And, it gave me a lot of, like, if you mix Decapitated with Fallujah.
A good comparison. Yeah,
that's what it felt like to me.
It's very good. I mean, if you're looking for just a very solid album, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Next for me is Hand of Kaliak. They put out an album called Corey Vrecken. Is that right? I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly. Anyways, I think this is a very interesting band because it's a husband and wife duo making this music. The husband in the scenario is basically doing melodic death metal. He has really crunchy guitar riffs and lots of the stuff you expect to hear in traditional mellow death. And then his wife is singing these Gaelic and Celtic overarching, very beautiful melodies over the melodic death metal. So you get this weird. It's not really weird, but you get this combination of the pretty voices with the harsh vocals. And I mean, we've seen that done before, but never quite like this before. It's kind of unique in the way it sounds because it has that Celtic and Gaelic melody sort of built into it. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's a very interesting album. I think it has a lot of staying power. I don't think it's going to be one of the best of the year for me, but it's definitely worthy of an honorable mention.
Yeah, I liked it.
The next band is a band called Keras. They put out this album called Homo Homini Lupus. I'm assuming that it's about werewolves. It's a fantastic Blackened mellow death album. Very, very brutal in lyrics and very hateful and very just harsh all the way through. And it's catchy. It has these weird progressive elements into it that are just incredibly catchy. This was going to be my pick above Karkosa, but after revisiting Karkosa a few more times, I was just too impressed with it that I couldn't not include it. But the Keras album is almost as good. It's definitely another one of those that if I had to pick 4, this would have been my 4th. So I recommend it very, very highly as an honorable mention.
Yeah, this one here would have been one of my picks too. It just barely missed out. I mean, it's very, very obvious that they enjoy playing fast, and I get a strong Behemoth vibe out of them.
Classic like Behemoth. It's not really modern,
Behemoth.
the modern type Behemoth sound, but like
the old school stuff.
Like Evangelion kind of stuff, like old Behemoth. It's great. And then my last one's Soldusk put out a new album called Antithesis. If you don't know Soldusk, she's a one-woman black metal project. She does these really like operatic kind of beautiful, sad songs that have black metal elements built into it. It's very, very good, but it's not the kind of music I can listen to all the time. So it won't end up super high on my list, but I do enjoy it. And it's one that like I go to when it's the right mood, as Christian likes to say. It's definitely mood music for me.
Yeah.
And then the very last one is Pestilential Shadows, which is just an outstanding Blackened death metal album. It's really, really good. Not quite as good as some of the others. It doesn't have as many progressive things built into it or as many things that make it stand out as unique. But it's one of those where you know exactly what you're getting and they do what they're supposed to do exceptionally well.
Yeah, I liked it too. I mean, I probably liked it a little less than you did, but it's still a really good record. I mean, I actually thought you were going to mention Shallow Waters. You were kind of raving about that for a while.
I really liked it the first couple times I heard it. And then on repeated listens, it sort of fell off for me. So I don't know. It didn't have the staying power to deserve an honorable mention, I thought.
I mean, I just thought, I actually really liked it quite a bit. You know, it was going to make my honorable mentions too, but you know, that post black metal mixed with a little bit of doom. Yeah. And, you know, another one of those albums that have, you know, feelings of despair that are almost palpable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you can almost feel it as it plays. But yeah, just like you said, you know, especially with me liking more, you know, faster tempo stuff, it fell off for me too, but still a fantastic record. My honorable mentions, I've listened to some of our past episodes and I seem to go off on too many tangents. So for my honorable mentions, I'm going to purposely just keep it short and sweet. So like for my first one, Iron Curtain, Savage Dawn. This is old school speed / thrash metal, a bit of a hybrid from Spain. And this would be for fans of bands like Enforcer, Running Wild, or Motorhead. If you like any of those bands, you'll like Iron Curtain. We already talked about Job for a Cowboy, but for, you know, fans of Decapitated, Rivers of Nile even, I would even go there. Then Traveler, prequel to Madness, traditional heavy metal. And this here's an international band. They're from all over the world. For fans of Haunt, Visigoth, even if you know the band Venator, a German band called Black Slash, yeah, any of these, you will definitely like Traveler. And then probably power metal album of the year so far got dropped, Firewind, with their album Stand United.
I've heard that
And
from a lot
for
of
me,
people. I haven't actually listened
yeah.
to it, but multiple people have been talking about how good it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Mystic Prophecy, if you like Master Plan, if you like Stradivarius, they're. I mean, at this point, you should probably already know who Firewind is. They've been around for quite a while, and Gus G, used to be in Ozzy for fuck's sake, so people know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And on this album, his guitar level, it almost seems like, to use a game analogy, he's figured out some sort of exploit on leveling up because my God, the guitar solos on this album are just insanely well done.
Yeah, I need to listen to this album. I generally don't even bother with power metal unless I hear a whole lot of people saying how good it is. It's just not my usual preferred subgenre, but sometimes I like it. I got to say, the new Sonata Arctica came out today, and I listened to that. I mean, that's really more of a discussion for next week, but I enjoyed it, and I haven't really liked anything they've put out since like 1998, I think. So it can happen.
Yeah, I actually still haven't gotten to that yet, but I will. I will definitely check that out. I mean, they're a band that I was super into in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, I don't, when's the last time they had something good? It's been a long time. And, I hate to say that because I usually like to try and stay positive. Yeah, they've had a lot of really meh releases.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I check out everything they put out because I was such a fan in the beginning. Because, I mean, taste changed over time. I started out liking a lot of power metal stuff in the very beginning, Stradivarius, Sonata Arctica, stuff like that. And my tastes have changed, and I've developed more of a thirst for the darker stuff. But every once in a while, I do go back to it, and every once in a while, I discover something I like. It's just, extremely few and far between. So, yeah. All right. Well, that does it for our honorable mentions. Let's move on. Our topic for this week's episode is live shows. Christian picked this one because I guess he has some gripes he wants to talk about. So why don't you tell us what your thoughts are on live shows, Christian?
well, my number one, and this really isn't even close, my number one gripe is ticket fees. Now, granted, underground heavy metal like you and I go to a lot, tickets are not expensive and the ticket fees are usually like a couple of bucks at most.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking to something like Iron Maiden or whatever, man, those ticket fees can get outrageous. And I mean, I've seen multiple memes online, going through a checklist of all the different fees, and it'll say just because we can fee, or they always have that. On every single one, there's a convenience fee, and I'm constantly wondering who's this convenient for.
Yeah.
I mean, this is convenient for you because I don't need a printed copy.
I mean,
You should be paying me.
At least in the old days, if there were those fees, it was like they had to physically print the tickets and then mail them to you, or else they had to pay somebody to stand at will call and hand them out when you came to pick them up. So I could kind of understand it. It's a little bit justifiable there, the fees in the old days. But nowadays, they send you a QR code that you just put into your phone, and the ticket taker scans it when you walk in. It's there's no need for that sort of fee anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, the smaller venues, like the bands that you and I like to go see, tickets may only be $30 for those shows.
I've gone to a lot of shows where it's $10 to get in. And I mean, I almost feel bad paying that price to go because I know I'm going to see at least two bands that I really like. And, if I'm only paying $10 to get in, they're not making nothing off of that. I know the venue's taking a cut, their management's taking a cut. So what, like $5 is going to the band per person? And, those small venues, there's maybe 100 people that are there. So that's not a whole lot of money to support the band. That's another reason that I always make sure I have money to buy merch and support the bands however I can when I'm there, because a lot of the time in underground and small clubs, I just feel like the bands are getting shafted.
Definitely. And I buy entirely too much merch. Oh, the close to 150 t-shirts sitting in my closet can justify that. Holy cow.
I'm sure the bands appreciate it though.
Oh, hey, the only way they can keep making music that I like is to be able to do this as long as they can. I mean, it's not like they're becoming millionaires off of the record sales and stuff.
They're not all Lars Ulrich,
Yeah, no, they're not. They can't sell paintings for $1 million and then be upset that they didn't get $1 million for their painting. So, what are you going to do? You remember that, don't
Yeah,
you?
I do.
Some kind of monster documentary. My God, what a piling, steaming turd that thing
Yeah, it's
was.
out of touch with reality. But
Yeah,
all right.
I mean the fees can get to the point where I mean like I said, it doesn't really happen with the smaller bands, but like Iron Maiden. Here's a perfect example for me to take both of my sons in 2019 to an Iron Maiden show in Minneapolis. Cost me just about $700.
Jesus.
And that was because I wanted really good seats, so I had to pay a little bit extra. But, a good $300 of that seven were fees.
Hmm.
And you would not believe how furious I was. Like $300 in fees? Are you kidding me? And I know that at least I don't think the bands have anything to do with fees or anything.
They
But
don't.
yeah, that's such a ripoff. Such a ripoff.
Yeah.
You got
Uh,
any big complaints?
well, my biggest complaint, I guess, is the lack of security at shows. I feel like. I mean, I've been to hundreds of concerts and I've seen pits break out. And as much as I do sort of agree with the sentiment that metalheads are genuinely kind people, and they pick up people when they fall down and whatnot, I've also seen you know the 7 foot tall guy who is all ripped and on steroids, really let his aggression out at those shows and hurt people. I don't think that's the standard, but those people do exist. And, I've had girlfriends get knocked down. I've had friends get knocked down. I've seen people get severely, severely hurt at shows before. And, the security guards are there by the doors or maybe in the front of the stage, but they don't do anything. It's like
Oh,
all the friends have to be the ones that pick up their injured friend and drag them to safety. And then, EMTs are called or whatever. But I feel like that should be security's job to be more observant and help out at those types of shows, because even though it does sort of feed into the bad image that metal might have in regards to that, like the aggression tendencies and hurting people, like I'd rather be safe than sorry in those sorts of situations.
I can see that. I mean, I don't exactly know how they would be in the pit without, you know, causing a bigger issue.
I'm not saying they have to be in the pit. I feel like, maybe interspersed throughout the crowd, or, maybe standing on the sidelines, or at least, paying attention to what's going on in the crowd. I see far too many of them sitting on a chair drinking a beer, not being involved in their job.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah, I've definitely seen that too. And I mean, it seems like for the most part, they're just making sure you don't try and climb up on the stage.
Yeah.
And that's,
They won't get involved unless the band's in danger, I guess.
yeah,
Which, I mean, I
yeah,
guess that makes sense too, because that's what they're hired for. But you should look out for the concert goers as well, because not everybody that goes to those shows has good intentions.
yeah. I mean, over the top of that is, how do you feel about, that report coming out that venues are now taking a cut of the merch?
I think that's shitty. I also don't know if it's widespread or even if it's true. I mean, maybe bigger venues that are doing, stadium concerts or something, I could see them putting some shit like that into their contract. But I don't know, like we watch a lot of, smaller bands, death and black metal bands that don't have tremendous fan bases that are playing small clubs. I really don't think that the owners of those clubs are trying to screw over the acts, because if they do, they won't get acts coming through, right?
Yeah, I would think so. But if this is something that's going to, you know, continue, or if this gets more traction, I've only heard like 3 or 4 bands complain about this practice so far. So hopefully it's not widespread. But if it
It might be
is, hey,
it might be a regional thing
I have,
too, because like every place that I've heard of doing it is in like New York. I haven't really heard about it happening, in the Midwest or the South of America.
yeah,
It's just like New York and its surrounding areas.
yeah, I haven't personally seen it. But if this does become a thing, I have zero issue just buying T-shirts out of the back of the guy's van if I have to. They're already on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
They don't need to have that cut into even
It's a
more.
good opportunity to get them to sign your stuff too. Wait until the very end of the show, and then hey, I forgot to buy something. That way
Yeah, there you go.
it's going to them. Well, what about things that concerts are doing right? What do you like when you go to shows these days?
Well, I think these package tours, especially if they mix up the genres a little bit. Like some things you don't feel as though they would fit together, but they kind of do. And I mean, you're getting two different types of crowds in there, and that can be a good or a bad thing. But I actually like it because like if you have a death metal fan that doesn't really like black metal, but they have to sit through an opening black metal band and they like it. There we
Yeah, it could
go.
expose them. But I mean, you also get things like what was announced today with Five Finger Death Punch, Marilyn Manson, and Slaughter to Prevail touring together.
Yeah, well, I don't like any of those bands, so I guess I'm okay.
Yeah, it's just such a weird, terrible trio.
Yeah, I mean, like hell, back in the day, like when I went to the Monsters of Rock,
Mhm.
and they would have, I remember one Monsters of Rock. It was Metallica. I think Ozzy was at that show, and then Deep Purple
Yep.
were the
That's
headliners.
cool, but it's
And
weird.
yeah, you're just like, wow, okay. And at that point, I think that was Metallica, the Justice album.
Mhm.
So they hadn't become this uber huge band at this point yet. And so they were actually, I think there were two other bands that were after them. I think it might have been, Jesus, I want to, this God, that's such a long time ago. I want to say Dio, but I know Deep
Jeez.
Purple was one of them. But you
I
had,
mean, I would go
other
to that show.
yeah, we had some of the Monsters of Rock shows that I've been to, like I remember one year Bon Jovi was one of the opening bands, right?
Mhm.
Warlock and Bon Jovi. And it was funny the very next year because this is when Slippery When Wet had just been released like a month earlier. And then the next year they were the headliners. And that's how quickly things moved back then. Slippery When Wet, of course, blew up and, they're playing
Stadiums.
stadiums
Yeah.
after that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of it too because sometimes you get really eclectic mixes of bands, like the Decapitated tour that's coming out in May. I mean, it's Decapitated, Cataclysm, Septic Flesh, and Elysian, and that's a pretty diverse mix of styles and bands. I think it's going to be a really fun and interesting show.
Yeah, it's always good to mix things up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what else do you like? Is there anything else or?
Well, there has been a little bit. I haven't seen it widespread yet, but a little bit of a push for what they call afternoon shows.
Matinee shows.
Matinee
Yeah,
shows,
that's something I was going to talk
and
about too.
I really I'd like to see that continue, especially on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. If I could go at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and see a killer show, and be home by 6 p.m. I mean, I know that comes off as sounding like I'm a grumpy old man, and I got to hit Denny's before I
No, but I mean,
go home. But
even if it's a Thursday, doing a matinee show, I think is reasonable because, like, even when I was younger and I was planning on going to a concert, I wouldn't go to work that day. I would take the day off,
yeah,
relax,
yeah,
prep, so I'm in a good headspace for going to the concert, so I know I'm going to enjoy it and everything. So, I mean, a day where I could do that and then go to the show at 2 and then be home by 7, and have dinner with the family and, watch a movie before bed or something sounds like an absolutely perfect day.
yeah,
And I know that
yeah.
venues have been doing this, especially, maybe this is the trade-off for the merch take, but I know in New York, they've been trying this out a lot with the matinee shows. I know Tomb Mold played a big show at 2 p.m. last week, and a ton of people I know went to it. And I mean, I can't imagine much better than going and seeing Tomb Mold at 2 p.m. on a Thursday,
Yeah, I mean that'd be great for me. I would love that.
Yeah, I'm all about the matinee idea. I hope that continues. Another thing that I think would be a really stellar idea to implement at shows is pre-signed merch. I know that you see it occasionally, but it's not very often. And like I think it's really cool to have signed records, from the bands and things like that. I mean, even if they only have 5 or 6 pre-done at a show, if you're one of the early people to get there, you can grab one. And at smaller venues, it's not really such an issue because you can wait around by the merch tables and the bands will eventually show up, at least the openers will, and you can get them to sign your stuff. But like at stadiums, that's not really an option. And like even for the smaller shows, sometimes it's not an option because they'll play, they're exhausted, and then they go off stage and go straight to their van and you never see them. So,
Yeah.
it would be cool if bands would just have, at least a few on hand that are signed. I mean, even if they charge like $5 more to have them, I'd buy it. I'd throw an extra
Yeah.
$5 to get a signed copy of a vinyl versus a non-signed copy. So yeah, I think that would be a cool thing to implement.
Yeah, I prefer to have my stuff signed too, and like I don't try to worry too much about what something is worth after I've bought it, because I don't plan on selling it,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe one day my kids will. They don't like my kind of music, so when I pass on, they're probably dumping all this stuff at a Goodwill. But like a couple years ago, Seven Kingdoms was in town, and I bought their vinyl there at the show and got them all to sign it. And I think just the other day I was on Discogs entering some stuff in, and I came across that album, and an unsigned copy of that album is going for like $200 now, because it's incredibly hard to find. And so, I mean, I could probably sell that for a premium with a signed copy.
Mm-hmm.
Of course I won't, but it's always nice to, like, I don't know if it's a choice between, becoming homeless or selling some of my records. I guess I'll be selling some of my records.
Well, let's hope we never get to that point, either of us.
Let's hope not.
Well, that's cool. I think there's, a lot of good stuff about concerts in general. I think there's a few things that could be improved. And I think there's some of these trial ideas that I would love to see implemented in more places, especially the matinee shows. I would be so down for that. But let's go ahead and move on because we're getting close to the hour. So pickups. What have you picked up lately, Christian?
Well, Black Lion Records. Thanks a lot, Justin.
You're welcome.
Black Lion Records. Black Lion Records had this massive sale. I don't know if it's still going on by the time this episode comes out, but they were basically selling vinyl records for $6 a pop. And so even if I didn't, fall in love with this album the first time that I heard it, I went ahead and ordered it because, worst case scenario, I can pass it on to a metal friend of mine. I don't know. For $6 a pop, I got no problem, supporting this label.
Especially when they're shipping from Germany. Like, I mean, it was 70% off everything in their store. T-shirts, patches, vinyls, CDs, all of it. I know Christian and I pretty much just bought vinyls, but, it's hard to beat a $7 vinyl even for bands you don't know or aren't super familiar with. Because, like, I spent $50 shipped for 5 albums, which is just crazy for any distributor, but especially one in Europe. I mean, they have to be losing money on this, but I'm guessing they're trying to clear out their warehouse, which is why they're doing the sale. But like, I picked up 5 albums off of it. I got the new Andraka album, which is excellent. I got the latest Woe album. I got the latest ASCII album. And then I picked up 2 albums from a band called Suicidal, which I'm not even very familiar with. I just listened to a couple of songs and I thought they were pretty cool. So I went ahead and bought both albums since they were so cheap.
Yeah. And I did the exact same thing. My total bill came to, with shipping, $76. And I have 9 vinyl albums on the way. I think I got ordered everything you ordered plus 4 more.
And by those, I already had them.
Yeah. And there you go. So like 9 albums. Then, I've bought some of Cryptos Grimm's albums, and I got some more coming in from him.
The stuff you got from Cryptos in that picture you sent me was just incredible. It was like 5 amazing Enslaved albums and like an Emperor album, and I don't even remember what else, but I was just like, wow, that's a...
Oh, Bathory?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff
Bathory album?
Yeah.
And then I got 2 more Bloodbath albums, and I think another Watain album. Yeah, it kind of makes me sad that he's selling this stuff. I'm sad for him, but he said, it's stuff that he had multiple, versions of, so he wasn't that upset about it. But
hey, his loss is your gain, man.
Yeah, I guess so. Then I also, of course, picked up the new Volcandra that's already here. The new Suicidal Angels that's here. Both of those on vinyl. I got the new Judas Priest incoming, the new Midnight incoming. So yeah, too much,
Yeah.
too
Well,
much.
I'm in the same boat, man. I bought all that stuff we just talked about from Black Lion. I picked up the latest Dodds Rit album on Discogs, and then the same guy was also selling Worsen Cursed to Witness Life on vinyl. That was a top 10 album for me back in 2019, and it's extremely limited in print run apparently, but I got both of those for like $40, which was just such a good deal since they're
Yeah.
only available from a German distributor with $30 shipping, Pre-ordered the new Dodds Rit album. I'm super excited for that. I can't wait for it to get here. I picked up Shooters Tjuder, however you pronounce it, Tsjuder, the latest album. Really, really love that album. So I'm glad I finally have that. Bandcamp wise, I picked up the Esoteric Cult album from Karkosa, pre-ordered the new Austere album, pre-ordered the Worm Witch and Sadistic Ritual Split album. We didn't really talk about that in honorable mentions, but there's a split LP coming out from Worm Witch and Sadistic Ritual. Each band released a track, and both tracks are fucking awesome. Really excited for this one. So I'm glad I was able to grab a copy of that.
Yeah, I got that one too.
Pre-ordered Giant Bound to Fall. We already knew that was coming for Eternal Storm. And then the latest, or the upcoming Vorga album, which I don't know if anybody out there has listened to the singles that have been released so far, but this Vorga album, I'll be absolutely shocked if it's not on top 5 lists across the board. Every single track is just amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is an insanely talented band. If I'm not mistaken, I've pre-ordered that one as well.
Yeah,
because I mean, I was such a fan of the last one.
Yeah.
I think I pre-ordered it without even hearing anything from this one.
Yeah, you were the one that told me about it because they were doing a deal where they were giving away free patches to the first like 200 people that bought the record or something. So I tried to get in before them, but I don't know if I made the cutoff or not. Speaking of patches, my jacket's almost done. I got a cattle decapitation terracite patch from a guy on Facebook, which like that thing's impossible to find. You can't find it on eBay or anywhere for like less than $60. And I snagged one for $10, which was just cool. And then I also found a patch for Wake's Thought Form Descent, which is one of my favorite albums of the last 10 years. So I was really happy to find that. And those are the last two I was really looking for, and I got them. So as soon as those get in, I'm going to start sewing, and hopefully a month or two from now, I'll have the whole thing together and I can show everybody what I came up with. So very excited about that. And then the very last pickup, I ordered a pair of heavies finally.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic headphones. For doing this, I'm using my Sony XM4s, which are also very, very good headphones. But yeah, for listening to music, I definitely go with the heavies if I'm not listening to vinyl.
Yeah, I've primarily been using Bose Quiet Comfort 2s, and the sound quality is immaculate. The noise canceling is, the best that there is. They fit in my ears perfectly, but one of the buds is starting to die. I don't know if water got in there or what. I tried to dry it out with rice, but it's just not working like it should. It does this like weird crackling sound after like an hour of listening. So I'm pretty sure it's just on the way out. So I needed some new ones, and it seemed like a perfect excuse to buy some heavies.
And I mean, they're not stupid expensive. I mean, they're not cheap, but they're not stupid expensive. I mean, I've seen some headphones in the audiophile category, $1,500.
Yeah, some of those Sennheisers and stuff can get like way outrageous, but I mean, they're only, I think, with the discount code and the promotion that's going on, it was only like $240 shipped, I believe. So that's not bad.
Yeah, I backed them on Kickstarter, when they first announced it. And even though it took like a year and 3 months to get it, I mean, it took a lot longer than they said it was going to take. So I was actually starting to get worried, but yeah, I was able to get mine for $140.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, Kickstarter always seems to be a good option as long as you're willing to take that risk.
Yeah, but I mean, there is a risk there. I do like that they've started doing the like interchangeable band plates on the outside of them. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they haven't done one for any bands that I love yet, so I'm kind of hoping eventually they will. But
same here.
If you like Symphony X, or what are some of the other ones they have?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit weird, the ones they got.
Yeah.
Because it's such a odd mixture, but Yeah, like you said, it's nothing that I'd be willing to purchase them
I mean, if
for.
they make a
So
Harakiri
they're
one,
out of the
I'm
normal.
clicking buy right now, or Demo or Enslaved or, just anything in the black metal realm that I like, I'll happily buy them.
I
But
I don't suppose you know if they have an Opeth one day. I'd do an Opeth one.
I would probably do an Opeth one too. They don't have an Opeth one. No.
Oh, because that'd be almost perfect. You know that Opeth O on the thing on the side of your headset. That'd be almost perfect
Let me
for it.
see what they have. It'll take just a second to pull it up. So for anybody that doesn't know, it's just heavies.com. They made headphones that are specifically designed for heavy metal music. They're big fans of the genre as well. So let's see. They have Archspire, which, Symphony X, Arion. Carrie probably buy some Arion ones. Monochromatic Black, which I had never heard of before until I saw they had these, and I went and checked them out thinking they would be a black metal band, and they are not.
They're not.
No, I was disappointed. Hacken, not really a big Hacken fan, but I know people that are. Symphony X, Subterranean Masquerade, and then Camelot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There's nothing there that I'd buy just yet.
Yeah. But if Heavies is listening, do some Enslaved ones. I'd buy that.
Do some Opeth ones. I'm in.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was a fun episode. It was great to talk about concerts and all of our favorite picks from the last 2 weeks. This week's releases have come out, and I've already found tons that I love. So I know that the next episode is going to be full of quality stuff as well. So very, very excited to keep doing this. I'd like to remind everybody, please follow us on social media. We're at Harsh Vocal Site on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. If you can, subscribe to the show wherever you listen to it and give us a 5-star review. We're actually doing pretty well in a couple of music review categories on different podcaster apps. So it'd be cool to see us move up there. Hopefully more people will discover it and therefore discover more new music. And that's pretty much it. We appreciate you guys listening. We're going to close out the show with Opeth, Serenity, Painted Death. Christian, you want to say why you picked this song?
Well, when we were talking about, live shows, one of the best bands you can see live is Opeth. I mean, they crush so hard live. Perfect example, my wife is not a heavy metal fan. She can tolerate some of it, and some of it she might actually like, but not the majority, and certainly nothing with harsh vocals. But, I kind of talked her into going to this Opeth show, probably 2016, 2017 or whatever. And she thoroughly enjoyed herself. She was super impressed by, Opeth live, how they come across, just because they're so laid back. They seem like they're like a 70s garage band up there. And then this super, heavy, like the song that I picked, Serenity Painted Black, when that chorus kicks in, that is just so heavy. And it's such a great album. Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can say about Opeth. Hasn't already been said about Opeth.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know them by now.
I'm sure most people listen to this. Yeah,
if you don't know them by now, it's time to discover them. So,
yeah, and I would be shocked if anybody that likes Opeth at all does not love this song. This is one of my favorite songs from them.
All right. Well, we're going to close out the show with it. Again, this is Serenity Painted Death off the album Still Life from the band Opeth. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Have a good one.
down.